Hey guys, I'm back. Oh my goodness, technical difficulties. Is Mercury in retrograde? I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to come back on and finish talking because I'm not on the radio because there was some kind of a problem and I'm not on the radio today. So I decided to just come back on Facebook. So if those of you that were listening, if you want to come back, great. If not, I'll just talk because I like to talk. All right. So anyway, I was starting to talk about pleasing, pretending, and perfectionism, and how those are energetic patterns and how those affect us when we are pretending. And what I mean by pretending is when you're walking around in your life and you are in some way presenting a false self and acting like what is going on around you is okay when it's really, really not. Or when you are trying to be somebody that everybody wants you to be, everyone else around you wants you to be. That is pretending. And you're doing that to please, okay? And if you're anything like me, you have to do it perfect. So I was going to talk a little bit about how that is an energy drain. It just kills you. When you are in that place of a false self and trying to live in the world, it is just unbelievably draining to try to be something that you're not, or to try to be okay with things that you're really, really not. And what happens is everything's energy. So if you can think about it this way, every thought and every feeling is energy. And the good feelings, they come in, they feel good, and then they flow right back out. But then there's the energy of like anger or fear, and those energies come in and they're a lot heavier. So when they're heavier, if they don't get resolved and they don't get worked through, they end up getting like lodged in your energy center, in your energy body, in your body. And those blockages and that congestion can cause a lot of problems, can make you very, very tired. So what I wanted to kind of talk about today in talking about the pretending, and by the way, I'm just going to tell you, like, I'm so out of sorts right now because everything I was planning and everything I had going was just completely thrown off. So for any of you that have been in that situation where you're just like, bleh. So if I seem sort of like out of sorts, that's why, but I'm going to try to get back on here. So when you're pretending and when you're trying to please, you are not operating from your truth. You're not operating from what is really you. And that affects you in your stomach area, because that's your power center. And if you're pretending and you're not being true to yourself, then that's going to affect your ability to be confident in your own truth. I'm going to give you guys an example of when I was pretending and I was pleasing and I was trying to be perfect. And it really, really took a toll on my health. I've been a teacher, but my truth has always been that I am an intuitive, that I am a healer, that I'm a coach, that I love to help people. Yes, I'm a teacher, but my truth has always been that I am an intuitive and I'm a healer, which isn't really acceptable to a lot of people. A lot of people think it's weird. A lot of people think it's woo-woo. And so my whole life, I've really tried to hide that. I've really tried to pretend like that isn't my reality. Like that's not who I am. I've tried to hide it to please others because, along the way, I found out that being an intuitive and being a healer, there were a lot of people that didn't approve of that. A lot of people that didn't think that was a good thing. And it was weird. And I got rejected. And I felt like there was something wrong with me. So I've kind of gone through my life pretending like I don't have this gift, but I do. So recently, as we were talking a little bit about earlier about how those of us that are really, we're really trying, we're all trying to expand. We're all trying to become better people. We're all trying to come into our power and be our best self. And as we do that, as we expand, and what I call raise your vibration, which really is just making you more expansive, feel better, it's the higher vibration. You're just living in a better version of yourself. But the more you expand and the more your vibration rises, the problem becomes if the people in your life are not there with you, that they are very hard to be around. And it's very uncomfortable for you to be around them. So that has happened for me in my life. It has gotten to the point recently where I can no longer be false. I can no longer hide who I really truly am. And that's happening right now. That's happening right now. I am being about as real as you can get right now. I'm sweating. I'm sweating. I'm nervous. And yet I'm finally to the point where I am done pretending to be some Cassie version of Cassie, some false version of Cassie that I'm not, just to please other people. Whether it's pleasing people on Facebook, whether it's pleasing, my family, whether it's pleasing my friends. I'm finally at the point where I'm so done with that. And even if people don't like it and they don't agree with it, and they think I'm weird or strange or different, I don't care anymore. And I guess part of the reason why I'm doing this show is to help other people get to the point where they can be that real. Because when you can live as your true real self without pretending, without trying to please, without trying to be perfect, you really are, you're the best version of yourself. And when you're that, you are like this shining light that is available to help others. And so what happened to me was I was trying to decide whether I needed to go back to full-time teaching or whether I needed to pursue my business, my healing business and my intuitive coaching business. And I've been going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on this for a really long time. And I didn't really even realize that I was still pretending. And the reason I was still pretending is I was still pretending like I could make being a full-time teacher, that was my truth, that was what I was really wanting to do. And that just became my reality, that it wasn't what I really wanted, but there were a lot of people in my life for very good reasons who wanted me to be a full-time teacher and to go back to full-time secure job, which makes all kinds of sense because we have to earn a living. But what I keep coming back to is my truth, the truth of who I really am. And for the longest time, I was trying to do both. And you know what? I was unsuccessful at both. I was subbing and I wasn't getting anywhere. I was in a dead end where there was no jobs that were really available. But I kept on subbing because that was what I thought I was supposed to be doing. That was my pretending, to pretend to keep up the self to everyone else that, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a full-time teacher because that's what everybody wants. That's my script, right? That's my script. That's the script I'm following. Not mine, but everyone else's. So I tried to do both, and I tried to do I still tried to do my healings and see my clients. And to be quite honest with you, I wasn't doing well at either one. I was exhausted all the time. I was crabby. I was stressed out to the max. I was, I was drinking. I was drinking because I was so, you get so stressed and you self-medicate. And I was, isolating when I didn't have my son. I was at home. I wasn't getting out. I wasn't doing anything. And finally, it always builds up to this point where you're like, something breaks open. And what happened is I ended up in the hospital with severe anemia and a stomach ulcer. So that was a real wake-up call for me. That was a real wake-up call for me. And I was able to, at that time, I was able to stop and really get honest with myself about what was going on. What was it that I was doing in my life that made me sick? And, I realized, everyone has their version of living a script that belongs to someone else, that is draining, that pulls you out of your true self. Everyone has that version. And for me, I keep hesitating to go into this, but I am going to go into it because I think it's really, really important. And this is what I help people do. Every single manifestation, let's take anemia. Okay, so I had anemia, severe. So every single physical or emotional manifestation that you have in your body or in your emotions starts as an imbalance in your energy. Now, I started to talk about this a little bit, and then I hesitated because here we go again. This is my truth, and I'm afraid to share it. But oh well, I'm going for it. So this energy that I'm talking about comes in. So what the energy was for me was great fear. I was living in so much fear because I wasn't making enough money to support myself. And that is your base chakra. That's your red root chakra, which is all about foundation, all about stability, all about financial stuff. And if you don't feel financially stable, and if you don't feel financially supported, or you don't have a tribe, you don't have people to help you, that is going to take a huge, huge toll on your root, your base chakra. And the way that that manifested for me was the anemia. The anemia is the root chakra is all about your blood. It's about your legs, your lower back, your it's all about, anything having to do with that, the blood. And so I ended up with anemia. And then the other problem I had was a stomach ulcer. Stomach ulcer is related to your third chakra, your solar plexus chakra, which is all about being in your power, being confident, being in your truth, okay? Which I wasn't. I didn't even know it. I didn't even know that I wasn't in my truth. I was just waking up every morning, living my life, subbing, trying to make money, trying to make my business work, and it was just, I didn't even realize that it wasn't me. It wasn't my truth. So I started to have issues with my stomach. And that's because the energy that was coming through that had to do with that particular energy center, which I said is personal power, confidence, was getting stuck. It was coming in and it wasn't flowing back out. So it was getting congested. And once the energy gets congested and blocked, you start to have physical and emotional symptoms. So that was the stomach ulcer. The other part that was affected was my throat. And even though this wasn't the problem I was hospitalized for, I have always had chronic neck issues with my neck and my shoulders and just pain. I had an accident, but I had, I've always dealt with that. And so what happens with that is if I'm supposed to be communicating my truth, if I'm supposed to be on the radio sharing things, if I'm supposed to be out there talking and helping people and sharing, and I'm not doing that, that is going to be energy that gets stuck in my throat, because this particular chakra, the throat chakra, is all about self-expression and communication, and standing in and expressing your truth of who you are, not pretending, but being really super honest. So I was having issues with that too, because I wasn't really standing in my truth and expressing myself. And then the other thing, especially for intuitives, especially for empaths, especially for people that are really, really gifted intuitively, which there are so many of you, and there's probably a lot of you listening right now that are. The other thing that happens when you're not living your truth, when you are walking through life pretending and pleasing, is you intuitively know there's something wrong. You intuitively know that you're not in alignment somehow. You know there's something wrong, and you might even know what it is. You might even know. Like, I know there were times where I would be like, my intuition would say, you need to stop subbing. You need to stop subbing, and you need to focus on your business. And guess what? I ignored it because it didn't make sense, and it was so risky, and it was not safe. It was not safe to listen to my intuition. I had no idea how to do that. I had no idea how to just stop subbing and go for my dream and honor my truth. And the hard thing is that, we do have to live in this physical world. We do have to earn a living. We do have to have financial stability. I'm extremely blessed that I have a family who has helped me a lot. And for that, I am so grateful. And even though I've felt really bad about accepting help from my family, I really am trying to look at everything from a grateful heart. And hopefully I won't get emotional here, but for me, I feel like the more I try to honor my truth, the more God supports me. The more God in the universe, spirit, whoever that is for you, gets behind me and helps me. And I feel like the support that I've gotten financially has allowed me to really, really live my truth and have my business and be successful and be financially stable. I'm still working towards that. I'm not there yet, but I'm so much closer than I was. And guess what? I did stop subbing. I finally did listen to my intuition, and I did stop subbing, and I took a chance. Actually, my intuition told me to go to Bali. And that was the craziest thing, because that was out of nowhere. It was like, I don't think I was listening. My intuition was telling me to stop drinking. My intuition was telling me all kinds of things that I wasn't listening to. I just kept up with the pretending. I kept up. I wasn't listening. And finally, it just got to this point where I couldn't not listen anymore, because things were not, number one, they weren't in a good place. Number two, I was stuck. Nothing was moving. Nothing. I was stuck in this confusion, in this not making money, not living my dream and my truth, and not really living to get, a full-time teaching job. So I'm not really living the script here. I'm just, right? So my intuition kicks in and says, go to Bali. You need to shake it up, girlfriend. You need to shake it up. You need to go get out of your patterns, get out of what you're doing, and you need to take a break. You need to take a break and to get away from this. Well, that was scary as all get out, I got to tell you, because that involved actually sharing with family, sharing with my ex, who's going to need to take my son. I had to share that out of nowhere, I'm listening to my intuition and I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a little vacation. And of all things, I'm going to go to Bali. I didn't even have a passport, you guys. I didn't even have a passport. My passport arrived the day that I left for Bali. Anyway, back to the story. So I went to Bali, and my family was awesome. They were really, really supportive, even though I know they didn't really understand. And, you know, my son was awesome about it. I shared with him, you know, Mom needs to go. I need to just get a break. And he was awesome. He totally supported me. But there were a lot of other people in my life who did. I don't think they meant to judge me, but they didn't understand. And they thought it was really weird. Some people thought I was abandoning my son by going to Bali and taking a vacation. And they said so. And, you know, that was hard because I wanted to please. I didn't want people to judge me and think that I was abandoning my child. Heaven forbid I don't want people to think that. I wouldn't want anybody to think that. So I was scared. Actually, I had the plan to go, and then I canceled it because someone said to me, I think you're nuts. I don't think you know what you're doing. I think this is a crazy idea, and I think you're abandoning your child. Sorry, but that was kind of a buzzkill on the whole Bali idea. I was just like, okay, not going to do that. Well, guess what? My intuition would not leave me alone. Kept on. Cassie, you need to go. Cassie, you need to do this. You need to do this. So I went for it again. I'll tell you what, you guys. Living real, living your script, living your truth, and listening to your intuition is so flippin' scary. It is so scary. And you have to take chances and risks. And you have to have this courage that is so tough. And that's what I had to muster up to go to Bali. So I went to Bali, and I came back, and I realized while I was gone that I needed to make a decision. I needed to make a decision about whether I was going to really live my truth and really go for it with my business and my healing work and my speaking work, or I was going to just surrender and really go for the teaching. But while I was gone in Bali, I knew what I had to do. I knew what I had to do. And so I came home, and I did. I stopped subbing. And it was hard because, you know, I felt really bad about it. I felt like, you know, that was what I was supposed to be doing. That was what I was supposed to be doing. But then I started working full-time on my business, full-time on growing my business. And so much has happened. I got this radio show. I have so many things that are starting to finally happen. And that is because I stopped pretending. But, you know, as I say this, fear comes up. Fear comes up about people knowing the truth, knowing that I went off script, knowing that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. And I think that's still hard to stand in. And that's really what I'm here to help others do, is to figure out what your truth is, to figure out what is right for you, and help you stand in that. and find the courage to do that, to really, really stand in that. So, as I was talking about before, when you're pretending and when you're living off script, if you're living on somebody else's agenda, it's hard on your body and it's hard on your emotions. And that's because of the energy. It's because the energy of fear, the energy of anger that you have to pretend in a situation where you don't want to, or you have to pretend like something's not bothering you when it really, really is, and you can't say anything. This is all energy that if it doesn't get worked out, it gets stuck. So what's the solution? What's the solution to this? Everybody has their version of, okay, I'm living off of somebody else's script. I'm not living my truth. I don't really know how to do that. So what's the solution? Well, this has been my experience of finding a solution to living real, to stop pretending, to stop trying to please all the time, and just trying to be in my truth. The first thing is you have to get really honest with yourself. And I love it. Oprah Winfrey says, she always talks about, what do you know for sure? What do you know for sure? So I've started doing this thing where I will go and I get quiet, I meditate every day, and I go into this, well, what do I know for sure is true? What do I know is true for sure? And that kind of brings me into being honest with myself, because then I'm really clear on what is really true for me right now. And if it's not, then it's not. So the first thing you have to do is really, really get honest. And it's okay to, you don't have to get honest with other people at this point. Just get honest with yourself. Whether that's journaling, whether it's just sitting there and feeling into what is true for you, you have to just be honest with yourself. And then, it's a matter of just getting still and getting quiet and being with the truth. I know everyone out there has different religious beliefs and different spiritual backgrounds and all that kind of stuff, but God did say at one point, be still and know that I am God. Be still. So what I've really tried to do is get honest and get still and get really into just prayer and meditation, because the only way you're really going to hear what's true for you, what your intuition, which is directly connected to God, to spirit, is trying to tell you to do. You have to get still. You have to get quiet. You have to quiet your mind. You have to quiet all those other voices from the peanut gallery telling you, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, no, yes, you should be. You have to quiet everything down, because the only way you're really going to hear what's true and be honest with yourself is if you can quiet everything else down, and you can really pray, and you can really meditate, or you can really, you can really ask those questions and hear those answers. So that's the first thing. The second thing, just really getting still. The third thing is to realize that you're not alone. You're not alone. Whether it's God, Spirit, the divine, they are there. They're there. You're not doing it alone, and you can ask for help in any moment. So knowing that you're not alone with this is really, really helpful. But then the other thing is that you need to have a group of people, friends, a tribe, some kind of a group that of like-minded folks who are also listening to their intuition, that are also taking courageous, brave risks and they're doing things according to their truth. They're really getting away from that whole pretending, and they're trying to get real and be real and live real. So having people in your life like that understand what you're trying to do and understand how hard it is, understand how challenging it is, and they can kind of be there for you. And I have a group on Facebook, and I think some of you from my group on Facebook are listening, but I listen to Nicole Omen, and she has this group called the Golden Collective, and every day she does like a little daily guidance thing. And it's been extremely helpful to me because it keeps me focused on my truth, what I am really trying to do, and honoring that, honoring getting still and listening, and knowing that I'm not the only one out there who's trying to do that, and feeling supported. So you need that. I really am trying to build more community here locally because I think we need that. We need support. If we're going to try to take risks and we're going to try to be courageous in what we're doing, we need help and we need support. So that's the next thing. If you are in a place where you are trying to speak your truth, so you have to not only live it, which is kind of what I just talked about, getting into your truth and then actually living it, praying and meditating and getting yourself into a space where you can live it. I want to say one more thing before I go on to the next one, and that is, you can be in your truth as a victim or as empowered. You can be in your truth as, this is who I am, and this is who I'm going to be, and I'm okay with it. And I feel supported in it, in whatever way you're going to do that. Or you can be in your truth and be like, oh, I'm intuitive, I'm a healer, I'm weird, people are going to think I'm strange, I'm, victim. You can be in victim. You can see yourself as a victim, as this person that people are going to judge, okay? Or you can act from your truth empowered. And that's another thing they really need to think about. And then the other thing, if you're going to go out in the world and actually share your truth, speak your truth. Okay, let's say you're in a relationship and your marriage, and something that your husband or your wife is doing is really, really bothering you. And you keep saying, they keep doing it, and you keep acting, you keep pretending like it's not bugging the crap out of you. Or they say, are you okay with this? And you say, yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm fine. Sure, I'm fine. No worries. Yeah, I'm fine. To please. This pretending, right? So let's say you're in this relationship and you've got this going on, and you've gotten quiet, and you've gotten in touch with what's your truth. What is not working and what will? Because if it's aligned with your truth, it will work, but it will be risky. So the first thing you need to do is, if you're really, really angry, if you're really pissed off with your mate because you are pretending, okay, and you're afraid to say something, before you do say something, make sure you're empowered, but also make sure you get the charge off the emotion that you're feeling. So if you're super, super angry that you just said, yeah, I'm okay with it, and you're not, and you've said it for like the bazillionth time, and you're really, really not okay with it, and you're really angry, this is not the time to speak your truth. Not the time. Because a lot of times what happens is we say our truth, but we say it from a really angry, charged, emotionally charged place where other people cannot hear us. They cannot receive our truth because we are so explosive and we're so angry that all they can get from us is our anger. They're not really getting the truth that we're trying to share because all we are putting out there is this angry energy. So before you go out there and you speak your truth, it's important that you get that charge off. And the way that you do that is through prayer, is through being quiet, is through, getting still and getting honest with yourself, and really, really, like my show, it's called A Return to You. You return to you. You return to yourself. You return to your truth, your power. And you pray, even if you're angry and you can't forgive, you can at least pray and say, I'm willing. I'm willing to forgive. I'm willing to let this go for now. I am willing to be in love right now. I am willing to go to this conversation, this truthful conversation, in a loving place. And you know what? You might not be able to do it that day. You may have to wait, a couple days. But wait until you are more neutral. And you can come from a place of love. And you can come from a place of empowerment. Because that's the only way that you're really going to be able to see change. Now, once you've kind of committed to being honest and being truthful and standing in your power and speaking your truth, there's all sorts of challenges that can come up. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I'm telling you that this is the way to live, because truly, if you want to be healthy and you don't want to have issues, either emotionally or physically, you have to be living your truth. Okay? And that is why I'm sharing this with you. But I'm not going to lie to you. There are challenges. There are things that are going to come up. And, other people might not like that. Like your husband might not like that you're sharing that this is not okay with you. This is not okay with you, and you need to talk with them about making a change. That could cause a ripple, and they might not like that. So that's why it's really, really important to stay in a loving place, to stay in your power. And the only way you can do that is to stay in your center, to keep coming back to yourself. Keep coming back to, what am I doing? What am I saying? How am I being in this conversation? How am I behaving? So that it really starts with you, and then whatever is going on outside of you with your mate or your husband or your partner, you're taking responsibility for how you are showing up. And if you can do that without blaming them, without putting any blame on them, without in any way going into victim of, you're doing this to me, you're doing that to me, it's your fault, you're not listening, you're making me do something that I don't want to do, you're making me take the dog out. I do that with my son all the time. I'll be like, it's his turn to take the dog out, and I just don't want to deal with the fighting, right? So I begrudgingly, I take the dog out. And I'm mad, and I'm just frustrated. And, I don't even remember where I was going with this. My brain is like all crazy. But we do these things. Oh, coming back to yourself. So coming back to myself, after I take the dog out, begrudgingly, and I'm irritated at my son because he didn't do it, I come back to myself and I say, okay, I could be mad at Todd, my son. I could be mad at him. I could be like, you didn't take the dog out. I'm always doing it. You never do it. I always do it. And just be really mad. But is it really about that? No. No, it is about me. And if I am not standing true to, you need to take the dog out, it's your turn to take the dog out, and stand in my power with that, and whether he has a fit about it or not, it's like, dude, this is your turn, you do it. Okay, now that's not as easy, but that's being true. But I can do it from love, and I can do it from being empowered. I can stand in my truth and be empowered. But again, it's not blaming him. It's not blaming him. It's taking responsibility for myself. and going into what I need to do to be in my truth, to be okay. And let me just tell you, not one more thing, but one more thing about that. When I am not in my truth with him, with situations like that, I feel it in my body. Because it's an energetic pull. It's an energetic drain. Anytime, I can't stress this enough, anytime you are not living the real you, you're not in your truth, you're not sourcing from your truth and your power and your love, it's going to affect you energetically. It's going to affect you somewhere in your energy. But if you continue the pattern, if you keep on acting, if I keep on taking the dog out and not saying anything and keep on just getting angry and resentful and it's your fault, you just get that like going. That's energy. That's energy, the energy of anger. And I can't say anything to him. I can't say, dude, I can't say it. So that energy is just getting stuck. And what happens? That creates imbalances. That causes problems. So if I'm not being true, if I'm not being real, if I'm not empowered, if I'm being a false self and following someone else's script, in this case it would be my son's. I don't want to have an argument with him, and his script is, Mom, you take the dog out. I'm too lazy. I can't do that. So that's what happens. But that anger and that frustration, you turn it around. You turn it around and you take responsibility. What am I doing that's creating this? Get into your power. Get still. Get the charge off. Get the anger out. Get centered. Say a prayer. And then I went and talked to him about it. I went and talked to him when he was calm, when I was calm. And I was able to speak my truth. I was able to say, listen, this isn't fair, and you know it. We need to share this taking the dog out. It's both our responsibilities. We both live in this house. It's not just the dog is not just my dog, it's your dog too. And so having that conversation with him from an empowered place, from a truthful place, and from a loving place, okay, from a more neutral place. And this is after I've gone in and I've really gotten, I've really connected in with myself and with God or with Spirit, okay? So that's my example, I guess, is, just to recap the whole thing. This whole month, it's all about returning to yourself. And if we're returning to yourself, it's returning to being real, to being the real you and knowing the real you and honoring the real you. And today was supposed to be all about these patterns that we develop of this false self that develops, and this pretending that starts to happen, and this pleasing, and all of this stuff that's false, and the energy of that, and how the energy of that literally can suck you dry. And I think it's just important that people become aware that the patterns that they have in their life, such as this, are going to create problems for you physically and emotionally. And just helping, the being conscious, the awareness of what's happening, that's always the first step. That's half the battle. Once you have that, it's so much easier. And I guess to just add and to end with this, what I do is I help people from that place. I help them from that awareness place. Because you can be aware that you might not be living your truth, your consciousness, but your subconscious doesn't always follow the plan. And that's why your subconscious follows your energy. And if your energy is all jacked up and messed up, then you're going to keep creating those same imbalances, those same patterns. So what I can come in and do is help you get clear and conscious of what you're doing, but then also clear it from your energy with you consciously, help you clear what's going on. So in this case, for me, with my son, it would be in my throat, because it's, it's that not being able to communicate if I didn't get my truth and share. If I just walked around and just was mad, that would be like emotion, energy stuck in my throat chakra, which would create issues in my throat, and probably in my power center, in my confidence, being in my power, and being able to speak my truth, so that would cause issues here. So you get those symptoms and you think, oh, there's something wrong with me, I just need to go to the doctor. But what I'm trying to share with you is return to yourself, return to your energy, and know that there's an imbalance. And to really make it easier to live your truth, and to really be able to confront the challenges that come with it, you have to get your energy right. You just do. If you don't correct the energy, you're going to continue to create the same patterns, the same imbalances in your energy. It'll create the same emotional feelings, the same patterns. Everything will keep on happening. You can go to the doctor and get medicine for your stomach, but if you're not in your power and you can't stand in your truth and you're not confident, you're going to have blocked up solar plexus and you're going to have issues. And if that continues, you're going to have stomach problems. You're going to have digestive problems. You might have gallbladder problems. You might have liver problems. Anything related to that particular energy center. And that's a whole nother conversation, which I'm not going to get into right now. But just know that when you're trying to make changes in your life with patterns, which is what I've been talking about all day, the consciousness and the awareness is great. But if you don't correct the energy as well and find a different way to frame it, a different way to look at it, it's going to be really hard to change. So that's what I do. That's what I do. I take you where you're at, and I take you with where you stuck. Where are you feeling triggered? Where are you unable to live your truth? What is going on for you that isn't working? And I meet you there, and I help you gain conscious awareness of it. And together, we partner and we clear it. So you know what you're letting go of. You know the energy patterns that you're letting go of, the emotions that you're letting go of. And then together, we find a new way for you to frame it, a new way for you to think about it cognitively, so that you don't recreate those energy imbalances. Because once you're thinking about things differently, you're not going to create those obstacles in your energy. You're not going to keep creating all those blockages. So it's a 3-part thing with me. I do a reading to kind of get an energy reading to get an idea of where you're at and what you need help with, and maybe where you're not living your truth and why you're not living your truth, so that we can address it. And then we clear the energy together. You know what you're letting go of. And then together we find a way forward that will put you in a different place, that will put you in a different way of thinking, so that you don't have that energy stuff coming up. Well, that was just, those of you that listened, Terry and Thelma, thank you so much for watching and listening. Hi Mom, my mom's there. Hi Mom, how are you? So anyway, what I was going to do on the radio was people can call in. So people can call in, you can call into my show, and I'll say, where are you blocked? Where do you need help? Where are you feeling like you need a shift in your life? So I will ask you a few questions about, like, what are your physical symptoms? What are your emotional symptoms? What do you have going on? That helps me to immediately know, like, if you're talking about stomach aches, if you're talking about sore throats, if you're talking about headaches or sinus issues, wherever you're having physical manifestations and symptoms, that is going to give me a really, really good idea as to where you're blocked. That, and also emotion. What emotional issues are you having? So I'll ask you those questions. And then what I'll do is get to a conscious point with you and be specific about what needs to be cleared. I worked with Terry Spittle? I'm so sorry, Terry. I don't know how to say your last name. Terry called in last week, and she was having issues in her solar plexus. And together we did a clearing of some of that negative, that stuck energy. And we were able to let go of that. She was able to let go of that. She felt lighter, and I was able to pull her into a higher vibration and then help her reframe so that she didn't fall back into that lower vibration. So that's what I'm going to do with my show. I'm going to have a topic. Hopefully I'll be on air next time. Hopefully you'll actually be able to hear me. Hopefully I won't be so scattered and nervous and have a million things going, awry on me. And then I'm going to want people to call in so that I can help you. That's really what I want to do. I really want to create a safe place for people to be able to call in and get healed. It's not a full healing, but if you have one little thing, everybody always has that one little thing, that if they just could break through that, just one little shift, it could really make a huge difference. And once you shift the energy, boom, things change. I'm telling you. I didn't believe it to begin with, but it is unbelievable how things can change. So just so you guys know, I usually charge $250 for a session, for one session, because it can take up to 3 hours to do it. And so what I've done is I've broken it down into 3 sessions, and I've created packages. And that is if you really, really need a breakthrough. You're really ready to get serious and find out what's going on. You get a reading, a very in-depth reading, and then you get a huge, thorough clearing of your energy, conscious with me. And then we do this cognitive coaching and strategy action plan, putting it into action, because you have to take all this in the physical world and you actually need to do it. But, yay, here's the happy news. This first month, August, well, we're not in August yet, but to celebrate my radio show, I am doing an introductory session for $89. So if you want to just get a taste of like what I can do, it won't be like hugely in depth. It'll be like a 90-minute session. And what I'll do is a little reading of your energy to kind of get an idea of where you're blocked, where you're stuck, where you're triggered, what is going on, what's keeping you from being your true self, whatever. And then together I will do a clearing of all of your chakras and of all of your energy with you. But we won't be able to go into as much depth as I would in the session, just that session. A lot of times what comes up is sometimes there's guided meditations that I have to take you through to correct things from your past, or it can look a million different ways, you guys, when I do energy work, when I do that for people. And it's very custom fit. It's very custom made for you. So yes, I have a way that I do it, but it really is, I'm guided by Spirit, by God, to do it in a way that's going to be best for you and your healing. So it can look different in any situation. So anyway, I have a website. It's just my name, Cassie Ocken, skypeusername.com, and you can go onto the sessions page, and you have to fill out an intake form, because that's part of the intake form makes it so that our session time is used more wisely. I don't have to use your session time to ask you a bunch of questions and assess where you're at. The intake form lets me know beforehand where you're at, so that we can use the session time to really have, focus on solutions and getting you better. But anyway, you go to my page, you go to my session page, you fill out the intake form, and then it takes you to Schedulicity, and you can actually schedule a session and pay on there. So if you're interested in that, great. I would love to work with you. If you're not, then just listen. Hopefully I'll be on the radio next week. And I will go on Facebook again live, but I'll probably do it on my Intuitive Awakening page, because I have 7,000 plus followers on that page. And those are listeners who are definitely up for getting, readings and healings and clearings. So if you're interested in that, I will give you the link next week for the radio, and I will probably go live on Intuitive Awakening. So, you know what? For those of you that have listened, Virginia, Terry, Denise, Mom. Hi, Mom. I love you, Mom. Oh, Shama. Hi, Shama. How are you, Shama? Stephen. Hi, Stephen. How are you? Tina. Purna? I hope I'm saying that right. Namaste. Alyssa. Stephen Phillips. Fritz. Hey, Fritz. How are you? Oh my gosh, there are people watching. Hi, Amy. Carol. Hi, Carol. How are you, honey? Thelma, I already said. Milan. Milan, hi. I haven't talked to you forever. And Jeff. Hello, Jeff. So anyway, thank you to all of you that, held space for me to fumble around, get nervous, sweat, and finally settle into my message today. It took a little while, but thank you for hanging in there with me, and hopefully next week I'll be on the radio. So anyway, I love you all, and if you have, I also do free consultations. That's on my website too. So if you want to just talk to me for free, and you just want to kind of see if this might work for you and this might help you, we can do that too. So just go to my website or email me, whatever, Cassie Ocken. It's all about the Cassie Ocken at Gmail, CassieOcken.com. All right, I'm going to stop talking now. I am sending so much love to all of you. And again, thanks for holding space for me today. All right, love you. Bye.